I've maintained throughout my videos that my absolute favorite thing about DBD is the perk system, as it reminds me of a love I once had for all TCGs. The ability to mix and match different additional effects to create unique and fun builds and that maximize the potential of certain playstyles is the reason the only time you'll ever catch me playing with no perks or less than 4 perks is to get achievements and tome quests done. Even when I have a tome around certain perks, I try and work the build around that perk just because it's fun, and sometimes I'll sit there for hours, theory crafting new perks and new effects to add to the pool so we can have even more diversity. My one complaint, however, is a common phrase that is often thrown around when I talk about bad game mechanics, design, or even an unhealthy perk. The response is, just use X perk. Perks are meant to enhance the gameplay and weave a new style or boost a current style of gameplay. They aren't meant to fix inherent problems with the game, and a lot of times the suggestions are like putting a band-aid on a chainsaw wound. Hardly effective, and I'll probably die if that's all I try to do. That being said, I also have times where I'll read a perk and wonder to myself why the perk isn't a base kit function, but it's not enough to just make a perk base kit without any changes to it, so I also feel like you need to improve the perk itself. So without further ado, here's however many perks I want as base kit that I'll figure out by the end of writing the script. Let's start with killer perks, and no Ed isn't on here, you weirdos. The first perk I unironically think should be base kit is Deerstalker. I have no unearthly idea why I need a perk to find a slugged person. Reduce the range down to 8 meters so people can still have the opportunity to attempt to crawl away, but realistically I've had so many matches where I slug for whatever reason, then wander around the area for 4 minutes looking for the poor sod to hook them, and can't find them because either me being deaf or them playing one of those really quiet characters, and I feel bad that they had to wait 4 minutes on the ground doing nothing. As a replacement, I already made a change for this a while back, but I personally would improve it. I think Deerstalker should show the area. For fuck's sake. I think Deerstalker should show the aura of the survivor for 4, 5, 6 seconds after you cause them to lose a health state and then have a cooldown of 40 seconds. So it's kind of like an I'm all ears that you're in control of. The next perk I want to see base kit is probably the least controversial, and I think that it should be Shadowborn. I saw on one of the Q&As recently, Behavior said they're having issues implementing an FOV slider, and I'm not sure I understand why. The technology's already there with Monitor and Shadowborn. Just take that and put a slider in. But in any case, I think after the implementation of an FOV slider, Shadowborn should be changed to a perk that boosts undetectable. So like Lethal Pursuer, basically you start the game as undetectable for 8, 9, 10 seconds, and any undetectable effects that you get either last 2 seconds longer or linger for 2 seconds, depending on what caused the undetectable. And the last killer perk I think should be base kit is Shattered Hope. Look, realistically, if we aren't going to implement my fixes I made in my Hex versus Boon video, then Shattered Hope should be base kit. And I'd instead change the Shattered Hope to be a Hex. Whenever you break a Boon totem, the totem then relights as a Hex, and the survivor who lit the original Boon looks around frantically and becomes panicked for 15, 20, or 25 seconds. The Hex then goes out and the totem breaks. If you're interested in the panic status effect, I made a video called 5 new status effects, and it'll be a title card and linked in the description as well. Moving on to survivors, and this will probably sound awfully familiar to you guys because a lot of these have to do with providing info, but the first one is Kindred. Kindred, without seeing the killer's aura, would work wonders to base kit as a survivor. Simply being able to see what your team is doing about the hook can change so much for the game and would more than likely help people stop hopping off gens. The best part is you don't even have to change Kindred as it is now because it has the aura reading on the killer, so current Kindred would still be useful. Next up on my list is Bond, with a very limited range of 10 meters. I think it's important to know where your teammates are when they are in your immediate vicinity. The reason I don't think it should be the current Bond is because being able to see halfway across the map at all times is something I think should be reserved for perks, which is why current Bond would just simply be a base kit range extension. Finally, I believe unironically that self-care should be base kit but at a more reduced speed. Listen. I think you should be able to patch yourself up without a med kit, albeit very slowly. Like it takes almost a minute to do so. Like maybe a minute actually. So like base kit, it takes like 60 seconds, and then self-care would boost the speed to it takes 45 seconds or something like that, or 35 seconds or 40 seconds. I'd say 40 seconds, right? You could do it like self-care would be 50, 45, 40 seconds would be how much it reduces the time. You know, it's just the reason I bring this up is because solo queue is such a frustrating mess that I've been trying to desperately come up with ideas for a long time about how to fix solo queue. And realistically speaking, one of the reasons I think that solo queue is so frustrating is because, like I've explained in a previous video, there's so many people doing what they feel is the best bet. And so you need as much as you can to help you through without raising the power of you specifically. Unexciting, I know, but my base kit changes to Survivor are just in the hopes of making Survivor less frustrating to play as in solo queue. And for fun, here are 3 perks for each side I think would be funny as hell to be base kit, but I don't think they should ever happen. For Killer, the obvious one is NOED. I am in the camp of people who think that NOED isn't actually that powerful, especially because it is counterable and its best power is its surprise factor. Any regular NOED users will tell you might get 1, maybe 2 people with this, depending on what's happening. But normally the survivors will either say fuck it and dip, or they will find your totem pretty quickly and now you no longer have it. Next up for the lulz, I think it'd be pretty insane to have lethal as base kit. No more guesswork for you killer mains. You mean seeing where you spawn and trying to logically deduce where people are through spawn logic and gen placements is too hard? Never fear, now you know where the little bastards are every game at the beginning. Finally, I think it'd be funny to see monstrous shrine as base kit. Like, imagine for a moment every newish killer, desperate to get value from shrine, they would constantly leave basement undefended. I mean, base kit NOED can already cause newer killers to make bad decisions because in their mind they could just make up for those bad decisions in the end game, but hey, it's still fun to think about. For survivors, my choices are more troll picks, honestly. I think Blast Mine and Wiretap being base kit would be the creme de la creme, only because even as a killer main, I think Blast Mine is one of the funniest perks in the game, and it used to be an integral part of my build. The Wiretap is just there so you can watch the silly little stun animation from behind a wall. Secondly, I think it'd be fun to have Pebbles as a base kit. I don't know why, but I feel an unbridled amount of joy when I use Pebble from behind a wall and see the killer go rushing over to that area. I once used a Pebble from the top of Eerie to drive the killer away from a gen that was about to pop, and the fact that it worked robbed me of breath from laughing so hard. Finally, Plot Twist. I just love Plot Twist. I think it's one of the most underrated, effective, and funniest perks around. And a lot of times if you use it right in front of a killer, they just leave. It's so great, and it's brought some much needed humor to the game. So just let everyone have it. And that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down below. Give me your 6 serious perks and your 6 silly perks you want to see base kit. I'd love to read them. And a special thank you to my channel members, Nuclear Bomb and Spirit Upgrades, for the additional support that they provide me every single month. If you want to know how to get thanked at the end of every single video, as well as additional perks, click that join button down below. And don't forget, we have some limited time merch available for the month of October. The Ghost Girl Gang hoodie, a Stalker Halloween, and Candy Tonics hoodies. And you can get 13% off all of these hoodies when you use code BESTHOLIDAY at checkout. Other than that, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.